When a hoe try to lie to you, drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot. When a Prez brown nosing Putin, dropping like it's hot, dropping like it's hot, dropping like it's hot. When a sucker scream no collusion, dropping like it's hot, dropping like it's hot, dropping like it's hot. We got House committees, he got Cheeto flavored titties, so we're impeaching Don Pond because we know what's going on. Welcome back, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, trolls and voles, to YouTube's #1 most suppressed fake TV channel. The channel formerly known as The Lost Begotten. Here at Easy Reefers. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whatever it is. Could be some sort of time frame that we don't even have on this planet. I forgot. I fucking found my, my razor found its charger, so I found my face. Yeah, fucking thing's still under there, isn't it? Anyways, now I just realized how bad I have to trim my nose hairs. So, we got House committees. He got Cheeto Man titties. Cheeto Man titties. So it's Cheeto flavored titties. Yeah. I hate to say I told you so. Mostly because I like people to just listen to me the first time. But how's it going, Mr. Conway? Mr. Conway knows. We told him so. During my first warnings about what Russia was already doing to this country in early 2015. I said that there was going to come a time where basically you'd be persecuted for having some sense of American loyalty. And even on ABC News today, you had Chris Christie on there. You had all kinds of people trying to fucking rationalize this. And, regarding this recent revelation, the New York Times has come out with reporting that the FBI launched a counterintelligence investigation into whether or not Donald Trump's obstruction of justice was designed to basically cover Russia's ass regarding the 2016 election interference. So this particular inquiry isn't about the overall he might be a Russian spy thing. It's just about he might be obstructing justice because he's a Russian spy. Now, the way they're talking about it, they're going on about the pattern of behavior and on CNN, on MSNBC, and a couple of people were allowed to speak sense on Stephanopoulos' roundtable today. I kind of long waited for the time when George Stephanopoulos would basically be activated as a fucking sleeper agent. He's just been this neutral, passive, likable, passive, fucking sensitive kind of guy. Perfectly reasonable throughout his entire career. Says many things I've agreed with, but I always knew. Even when he's done some brilliant fucking interviews. He's done a great job as a journalist in a lot of ways. Whether or not there was something he was hiding, or whether or not I just fucking see the future in ways that I can't understand, I always knew from the moment in fucking 92 or 93 when I first fucking saw him. That motherfucker there is going to be a problem. And now here it is, this... Of all the fucking things you could normalize, how dare you try to normalize the possibility that someone occupying the Oval Office could be an agent of Russia? And I can't believe anyone doesn't understand that it's not as though, like, oh yeah, America and Russia used to be adversaries. Russia pretended to be our friends for a long time. They made it clear during the Obama administration that they were not our fucking friends anymore. We are currently adversaries. Basically been fighting what people have been calling a hotter war than the Cold War lately. And the trolls are out in force. Nothing says no collusion like every time there's some problem for Trump, the Russians are out harassing people like me. Sitting there saying they're not a Russian troll when they're obviously fucking Russian trolls. Assholes might as well be fucking typing in Cyrillic characters. Anyways. Boy, that cup of coffee just isn't gonna do it. That shit was made at like 4 p.m. That's 11, 12-hour-old coffee. But the kitten just crawled in my lap and fell asleep out of nowhere. Fuck. So, what I want to talk about on this broadcast is sort of recapping just how much shit Russia has been up to very recently. How it's been grossly irresponsible of the media to not discuss this. Because it's the truth, you know? And when it comes to understanding the truth, I think the universe has kind of proved the truth's usefulness. We need to understand how much of a fucking threat Russia is, how much they keep trying to invade the whole world, how much Putin's ambitions really extend, you know? How far. Because not understanding that is really coming to bite us in the ass. Because you have Fox News people who are just kind of like, well, isn't it a bad thing that he's colluding with Russia? Yes! It's a really, really, really fucking bad thing. This whole foreign policy of appeasing Russia? Oh, it makes Neville Chamberlain looks like fucking William Wallace. John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, his name is YN2. Water of life. C2O. 2 coffee molecules, 1 oxygen molecule. I don't know why that thought just tickled me. Probably because it was made of feathers. So the quote of the day, that is not the quote of the day. The quote of the day is not my own. Or I guess that could be the quote of the day. And the quote of yesterday goes to one Carl Bernstein, who has just coined the term half-witting pawn. Trump, he's saying Trump may be an unwitting pawn or a witting pawn or a half-witting pawn. Oh. Yes. Half-witting. And he's definitely a half-wit. That's half-witting pawn. Mwah. I don't know if it's just me. But that's fucking poetry. Anyways, speaking of old man poetic descriptions, I just fucking finished watching My Big Fat Greek Wedding, which came on automatically after when I woke up. My wife was watching, what's the old Never Been Kissed by Drew Barrymore? Oh, that movie there. It's like a train wreck in slow motion. You just the whole movie. You just like. That's the whole fucking movie right there. Just, I don't want to watch, but I can't look away. Don't want to watch, can't look away. So endearing, yet so cheesy. Anyways, so I tried to model some buildings. I've got them stacked up over here. These are just going to be my little cutouts to represent the normal house looking ones, because I'm lazy. And then this. Look at this monstrosity. It's horrible. It's all uneven and shit. It's like, what the fuck are you supposed to do with little tiny pieces of paper, you know? I did the best I could with my origami skills. And of course I made a lot of things that just wound up not making sense, and then just playing with them. But so those are the models for the floor plan thing. With I noticed, okay, like the Easy Reefers building is gonna look like a straight pyramid, okay, and then the pyramid building, right? Monopoly Zachary edition. The pyramid building facility kind of looks pyramidish a little bit, but all the roofs are kind of, you know, they're all square. All fucking buildings are square. You know, it's like what are you gonna do? Steal my design? I invented the square fucking building. Come on. I mean, you know. The shit that I've talked about here is not the patentable part of this process. And last I checked, neither were pyramids. But the whole idea is the alignment of these three, two small ones, and then a bigger one. And then there's like a little cafe on the other side of the road. And then further down the road, there's the big, giant prototyping facility that is basically like, we're going to build a tower just to learn how to build a tower out of these composites and modular structures. But then once it's complete, it's going to become office space. Savvy? Oh, hiccups, excuse me. But the thing is, pyramid, big pyramid, work area, farm, pyramid, masonry mill, floodable cropland, you know, on the other side of the river, of the road. No, not river. So we're gonna call the little road through the parking, like through the parking areas, Nile Boulevard. I don't know. Was that story even worth telling? I didn't even mean to do that. You see, on a corner lot, if you want to occupy it with multiple buildings, an L-shaped road that allows visibility to the rear buildings, if you want them to be visible, is just the best way to put it. So I have two buildings right there, another building kind of staggered out like that, and another building on the other side of the little road back in the corner. The one that's most inviting is the one all the way back in the corner. Okay? So then by attracting people to that little cozy little restaurant bar kind of thing, then people are kind of forced to see, wait, these are flood-proof buildings? And of course, then they'll be seeing Easy Reefers and the Morris mechanic shop as sort of like the demo model buildings, okay? But the same size as their signs in the very front is going to be, is it flood-proof modular building composite, some shit. I got it written down. But yeah, flood-proof buildings on a big-ass sign in front of the flood-proof buildings. And I figure a saltwater store and a mechanic shop is about as heavy a shit as you can put in something. Or want to put in something. So if I can just sit there and like, I can float this, you can float whatever you need to, you know? But, yeah, I think my liquidity model is still pretty much in check with this kind of rushed deployment, because then basically we're going to have increased near-term income. Like basically, in order to provide more jobs in this area, we're going to be opening up the store and trying to expand it as quickly as possible, including going I mean fucking straight into food fish. Okay, as soon as we can start raising fry and larvae at the reef shop, we're gonna build another facility, just to grow out and process water. Grow out the fry and process, like, you know, wherever. there's quite a few little pieces of land that I'm sure they wouldn't mind me making some big flood prevention ponds, you know, big flood prevention reservoirs. And I'm going to do the thing with the wind-powered pumps. So whenever a storm's coming, my reservoirs are going to take on more water. It's a good way to kind of like throttle within reason, you know? Because like at the same time, they don't want you taking much water when there's not a problem, you know? They don't want you lowering the level of the streams. So I'll just have a little, like kind of a windmill on easy gear, you know? You just go like that, and the fucking shit'll just barely pump, and just slowly give me a little fresh water supply. Basically twice as much as evaporation. So half of the water that I take in will evaporate. The other half will go back out clean. That's a good standard to try to meet, you know. Anyways. I can't believe I've gotten this far. Like it's damn near surreal. And then this guy turns around and makes my wife executive assistant. But then there's an even bigger real estate company that I'm going to have a meeting with. A national company. In fact, international. Wouldn't that be nice? To just get partnered up with an existing international real estate company? Yeah. It's about time I mention it, considering how long I've had it in the works. Anyways. Shouldn't surprise you. I told you my mom was vice president of David Weber Land and Development. David Weber basically merged with Remax. You ever heard of Remax? Yeah. They're not the one. But close. Or are they? No, I'm not gonna fucking say which company. But that would be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah. Mr. Conway might be getting his facility sooner rather than later. Hope you're ready there, boyo. Don't worry, it's not gonna be that fucking big. It'll be more like so. Just the one story. So yeah, those models are horrible. It's just like the basic kind of the shadow the building's gonna cast. The building looks markedly better than that. And instead of the simple roof on it, it just has it's got a wraparound balcony and then a 24 by 24 space for the 6th floor. Balcony around that. And then the 7th floor is a little viewing deck. Something, yeah, kind of like a roof deck. What do you think of that monstrosity right there, man? is just not how the fucking top deck is supposed to look. But it's like, it's there. You know? That's as good as I can get it. Fucking using index cards and scotch tape. And I don't really have anything else to use. I don't know what the hell else to use. What are you supposed to fucking use for that? So, do you know, like, how much per acre, even in pounds, land is going for out there? This company already operates there, by the way. They operate in most countries. So, securing the facility became that much easier, you know. You there, mate? Well, obviously, we'll be looking to service an area that has, at least at first, decent income. You know, we'll crop out into lower income areas. But we're looking for an area that maybe used to be prosperous, but now has flood problems. That's what we're looking for, is we're looking for a place with flood problems. Because anywhere there's flood problems, we can solve the problems and turn them into profit. For us and for the people there. Now, considering the common excuse me, considering the common proportions of this lot layout, yeah, I can fucking set up the models right quick. This is what I'm using. I'm using index cards. Right. So I don't want to put more than 420,000, including starting salaries, into any given location before it can start turning a profit, or at least recouping. You know, expenses as far as total development cost for a given property is going to be onwards up to 1.5 to 2.5 million. But starting point is find commercial land that can be rezoned with a slice of residential land in the middle of it. Okay, and this is something that may have to be lobbied based upon this new experimental and ecological business model in which we want to reduce environmental impact by lowering cost. One of the ways we lowering costs is providing on-site security by having management, upper level management, residing on neighboring premises. This in addition to the fact that an aquaculture facility kind of needs that. Now, again, this shit ain't perfect, but so your cross street is right here. If you're driving on the main street, this is going to be your view. And that roof is fucked up, but barely kind of resembles the way the roof is supposed to look. So I didn't bother doing the other roofs. But I just wanted sort of a three-dimensional impression of how those buildings would sit against each other. There's the two residencies. There's the little club in the corner. And this is 300 by 400 feet. Okay? 300 by 400 feet. Most of those buildings are 56 feet wide. I think, yeah. 56 feet wide. So it all fits quite well on a pretty tiny little lot. And as low quality as what I put together is, this is all I have to show this fucking guy from this real estate company. So, wish me luck. Hard to get planning on it, though. You mean building permits and whatnot? Are there any zones without building code enforcement? That's one of the beauties around here. You can buy some land just outside of the city limits and there's no fucking code. Build whatever the hell you want. Right, because it goes to the ministry, doesn't it? There's no fucking... There's no just unsettled zones out there. Like, there are straight unsettled zones out here. It's like no city claims it, nobody cares. Just like... Oh, councils, eh? That's right. I keep on fucking failing to even understand what side of what part of Ireland you're even in. I guess that would be helpful to know if I'm gonna, try to go put a business out there. So you're on the independent side then? Is that why there's no ministry of whatever? Like I get so clogged up with trying to decipher Russian and Middle Eastern bullshit. I'm forgetting relevant matters, you know. Beautiful. Yeah, I think now that I picture it, you've pointed it out to me before. Yeah. I'm just like fucking struggling to wrap my brain around anything but my damn business plan right now. Like seriously, I just fucking... I'm not nervous about this meeting. I'm nervous about not having any clothes to wear for this meeting, because I don't have any decent fucking clothes anymore. If you wonder why I wear the same clothes so much, there's two reasons. One is because I don't want to waste the money on laundry detergent that my kids desperately need because they're filthy, disgusting. But two is wear and tear. I have a limited amount of clothing that I've had most of for over 10 years. Most of the clothes I wear over 10 years. This one, I think my dad came with pajamas. This came with a pajama package. This was one of my annual gifts of clothing, which is usually pajama pants. This was this year's gift of clothing, pajama pants. I finally got my first new pair of jeans in 5 years. It was about 8 years before that. I had how long ago was 2013? Six fucking years ago. Wow. 6 years ago when I worked at Honda. Damn, that's been a long time. That was the last time I bought suits and shirts and ties and shit from a thrift store. Those are the only suits and shirts and ties I have. The ones I bought 6 years ago at a thrift store. So what I'm gonna wear to the meeting, I have no idea. I could probably come up with a decent shirt, but I don't know about pants. This might even go. What do you think? You think this should go? It's kind of become a part of me. What am I know what happens when I shave this too. The last time I shaved it was 6 years ago when I worked for Richard Honda. I'll sit there and I'll pull at the fucking skin. I'll just sit there and like want something to tug onto. I'll just be like going like this at the skin. I'm gonna try to avoid shaving this if I can. Which means I'm gonna let my wife decide. How am I gonna do it after this bullshit? I know, I'll braid it. I'll civilize it. I'll rein it in. I'll tame it. I'll braid it right now on the fucking camera because, you know, it's a mirror. Bye. Tiny little tinies. I've been dealing with a lot of tiny little shit today with my giant fucking fingers. Beard braiding live on Easy Reefers. Ah, fuck, not bad. Actually got it right the first time. Wonder how it looks up here, I can't tell. Not too bad. Not too bad. You know, usually you do it and it's like all... Okay. Do I look like a proper little businessman yet? I'm gonna fucking shave. That should be enough. Yeah, I don't know if that's worse or better either. There we go. Now it just looks fancy. Now I got fucking little whiskers all over me. As long as they don't go in my coffee. This may be coffee, it may be poison. Who knows? Nope, no Kahlua. Oh, man. So, why shouldn't people think it's a good idea for Trump to get along with Russia? Let's see. Because everything that Russia was accusing, that right-wing media and Russian propaganda were simultaneously accusing Obama of doing in Syria regarding Islamic State. Actually, the Russians were behind, and the Russians have been acting as terrorists all over the world and invading two of our allies, two countries that fought alongside us in Afghanistan, while the Russians sat on their hands, by the way. Dingo. Dingo. Fuck off with that bullshit. What, are you working for the Russians now? Don't look at me like that. Smart ass. He looked at me like he understood. Oh, poor baby. I know. I'm mad that they didn't fucking give you a bath and you got that giant patch of fleas on your ass. These fucking spoiled ass, no good fucking children. They're the reason I smoke. Right. Didn't he get the specifics that I got right too? Isn't that where I learned that from? About the CIA not creating them. Or was it just the whole idea of the revenge thing and then being defeated there? I forget what he specifically said about that. But I think he, not even knowing what they would wind up bullshitting about in the future, had said something about the Soviets backing the Taliban and retaking Afghanistan right after we left. Or right after they left, basically. Thought that was him. No. Right. Like, the same way Bezmenov knows the greater plan and the greater pattern because he's seen it develop over time firsthand. That's kind of the same way we know about what the greater pattern of what's been going on here in this country has been. That's how we knew that fucking Trump was a Russian agent. not just like compromised by Russia, not like he's got to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, or they're going to, release the piss tapes or whatever. No, he's been like working in full, willful cooperation and coordination with them. And it's because we see the pattern of how he breaks down discourse. He's like literally the trollmander in chief. The same way trolls come and try to disrupt conversation and try to push people into extreme positions. He just lies for the sake of doing that and no other reason. He lies not to further his own actual agenda, not to increase his support, but to actually further inflame things. It's not a strategy to keep himself in power. It's a strategy to destroy America. Lord of the Trolls. The word king used to have meaning, and something about calling him a king I find offensive. Lord of the Trolls. Lord sounds so appropriate because it sounds so much like lard. He's Lord of the Trolls. Anyways. So, not only has Russia invaded Georgia and Ukraine, who sent troops to fight alongside our boys in Iraq and Afghanistan. Okay. They fought alongside us and we failed to fight alongside them. Because we're afraid of Russia. That's what it all boils down to. That's fucking pathetic. We got attacked on 9/11. Did Russia send troops to fucking Afghanistan to help us out? No. They were too busy blaming us for it. And then when we went to Iraq, when Saddam fell, it was Assad who kept supplying the Baathists, making Al-Qaeda in Iraq. Okay? Who supports Assad? So doesn't that mean Russia was supporting Al-Qaeda in Iraq? So if you wondered why a lot of the Russian and Chinese oil derricks, refineries and process plants and shit like that never got attacked by terrorists, that's why. As what's his name, the political manager or whatever on MSNBC with the mustache. Fuck, what's his name? I can't believe I can't remember his name right now. Anyways, as he said earlier today, it's not Trump is the wheel and Russia's the spoke. Russia is the wheel, and Trump is just a spoke. We've been thinking this whole time Trump was the wheel. What a bunch of nonsense. You know, when somebody isn't a self-made billionaire, they're usually beholden to the people who made them billionaires. So just picture all the defending that these poor people on Fox News, as stupid as they are, I feel sorry for them when it comes to this. They were convinced into lying, into accusing, into spreading hatred and fear, because they thought the idea that he was working for the Russians was just a made-up Democrat plot. Well, the fact that the Republicans have been working against the best interest of this country for quite some time now is the reason why I became a Democrat. Because I'm apparently too conservative for the Republican Party. I'm far too conservative for Trump. In fact, when it comes to actual Western propaganda, I don't think anyone has a better grasp on what the theme of it should be than we do here on this channel. But we don't have Western propaganda. We have Eastern propaganda posing as Western propaganda. So then instead of the West, you have white people. You have nationalism. And these fuckers have actually managed to get Chris Hayes to say Western civilization as if it was synonymous, as if it was cinnamon flavored. No, as if it was synonymous with white nationalism. As if Western civilization was actually a bad thing. As if, you know, colonialism and slavery was all that it represented. That fucking pisses me off. That's not Chris Hayes' fault. That's Alex Jones and them's fault for adopting what I was trying to say for their own perverted fucking means. Oh. Damn. Ow. Anyways. People really need to learn how far back this goes, how much of what has become their lukewarmness as Christians as a result of this propaganda. This has infiltrated so many aspects of society, it's not something that someone can just imagine outright. It takes intense consideration and study and reflection. Refugee homes underwater. You see, the coolest thing about our flood-proof buildings, Mr. Conway, is that visibly people will be able to create their own versions of them. They won't be as good, but people will be able to fucking get cinder blocks and put them around a fucking house and put shit to make it float underneath it, you know? And someone will develop nice, clever ways of doing it, I'm sure. But I welcome that. You know, we're gonna have the numerous other advantages as a business. You know, the entire business model as an advantage. So if somebody wants to one-off their own flood-proof houses, they're more than welcome to it. And if they want to try to do it as cheap as we're doing it, I hope they realize that they're not going to make a lot of money. But then again, I suppose people can always make money for themselves by paying their employees less. When I interview my chief operational officers for my regional facilities, the performance indicator that I'm going to be asking them about is, why haven't you given these people raises? I see your commission's doing just fine. You know? But no managers are going to get salary increases or bonuses unless they're giving out raises. Because the truest sign of growth, you know, this isn't merely just a congenial aspect. You know, this is not apologetic capitalism here. This is smart capitalism. Okay. The most effective indicator of growth, of overall profitability, is not just, are you hiring more people, but are you paying your people more? Have you had good enough employee retention and were able to hire skilled enough people? And are your overall management skills good enough to keep those kind of people and make them productive and keep them growing in your company? Okay, growing in your company. That's the key indicator right there. If those individual employees aren't growing as productive individuals, you know, productive employees, what the fuck am I paying the manager for? You know? To sit on his ass and do paperwork? No, man, lead, follow, or get the fuck out of the way. What you got there, Conway? Pay them to get more qualified. Yeah, if a manager hasn't had any luck what else have you done? That's a good point. You know, if they haven't been able to give people raises, have they sent, what in fact, not even just have they sent anyone to get trained, who have they sent where? What all have they done to train and better these people? Like, for instance, how many of your salespeople have completed the Grant Cardone certification? Right, right. And even when it comes to not just marketing and telephone representatives, okay, not just the people who are like, like even my like regular actors and spokespeople, like on the commercials that we're going to be filming. If there's any people that are there on a regular basis that become any sort of type of spokesperson, um, based upon who they are, just not famous, but like a legit fucking geek or somebody like that, um, I'm gonna have them go through the sales courses, because it kind of trains your mind to think in a more productive way about sales. Because there's some really sinister, stupid fucking ways of thinking about sales. And they're the reason why capitalism itself gets a fucking bad rap. And they're the reason why so many sales experiences wind up being unpleasant ones. But fucking Cardone, man, he knows where it's at. He teaches people to be honest, but in an aggressive way, Like, you're not trying to find your favorite thing about a product, okay? You're trying to find their favorite thing about a product. And what you do is you exchange information, okay? And that's why instead of, can I help you, you say, can I provide you some information? When they say yes, the exchange has begun. Because you've just said, I'm going to give you something. And they said, yes, well, I would like something. But because you're giving them something, when you ask them for that same thing, they give it to you. So you start telling them about the product and about yourself, and you start asking them about their previous product experiences and their selves, right? That is what guides you through the sales process. That is what teaches you what's important to them, what bad experiences they've had that they don't want to repeat, so you can guide them to the right product. Okay, that's really what it's about. You guide them to the right product, and you make them realize that it would be a mistake not to buy it because it's the right product. And that's fucking Cardone in a nutshell. How to use an exchange of information to land people on the right product, and use that to create a sense of urgency. Because then you know the problems that they're having. Then you know what they want. Like, what, you want to keep driving that thing? You want to go back to that house? Etc. Not pressure, just like, people like to hesitate. And your job isn't just to make them make the decision, but it's to give them the good enough reason to make that decision then, that then after they have made the decision, they're comfortable with that. That's the reason why, and I'm glad I did it. And that's how I wound up as a Honda salesperson, having people thank me for fucking pressuring them into selling into buying a car, because it wasn't even like pressure. Like that's not pressure, you know. Like there's some salespeople that are just dicks, just dicks. Like acting like if you don't buy it now, I don't have time for you and shit like that. Ah. I say this. If I want somebody to sell computers, they ought to know how to fix computers. They ought to know about computer security and stuff like that. You want to sell cars? You ought to know about mechanics and vehicle safety as far as mechanics goes. Reliability, that kind of thing. If you want to sell houses, it would be great to be a construction worker who's done demolition or a health inspector or something like that, you know, code enforcement. And when it comes to selling a full suite of buildings and possibly other products that all have kind of an ecological civil engineering aspect to them. I'm glad I got you and Neville, and I hope trusting you guys doesn't bite me in the ass. One thing I will tell you is one thing I don't like in a business partner is moodiness. Anyways, had a busy weekend. Didn't give much thought. Oh, what the fuck? Oh. Now where is it? Holy shit. Apparently Nimini won against the Hollywood Stunner. There's a big old white streak across the fucking front of that. It's like totally gone. I mean, there's still plenty of it left, but the whole front edge of it. Yeah, Nimini fucked it up. Trying to get my pH up. Can't get any fucking help cleaning out the damn protein skimmer. Fucking, I think it's like the one task that I asked the damn kids to do. The taller one cleans supposed to clean the cup. The younger one supposed to clean the sponge at the bottom. It's not much to ask. Anyways. So, I did have a project for you, Mr. Conway. Something that apparently I am still very ignorant of, but you might be better suited to figuring this out, um, and just letting me know like the basics of what the hell needs to be done so I can design something for it or incorporate it. Otherwise, it'll wait until your team out there develops a model or like an accessory set for existing building prototypes, models, blah blah blah. Biodiesel. Okay. Now, I have heard of people doing this, but I don't know how they fucking do it. And I don't know how direct the process is going to be. So I'd just like to know more. Like, how many fucking chambers, what type of plumbing, what type of, heating elements, if any, heating, cooling, whatever. What do I need to do to catalyze that nasty organic pus into biodiesel? I'm pretty damn sure it can be done, because that's practically oil waiting to form, So what do you do to that to make it into biodiesel? Because I basically want to just protein skim the fuck out of everything. You think? Think we should buy one out? There's a guy in Florida doing it that I saw on the news. But it looks like way too industrial of an approach, Like, it's not something anyone would want to have around. Right. It just doesn't seem doesn't seem hard. You know what I mean? Doesn't seem like it's hard. I've seen the biodiesel systems for a few different things, like algae and shit. And that's it's not even as complicated as an auto AC system, Right? But what I want to do is, of course, integrate it into a flood-proof building. A good-looking, nice, flood-proof building. And preferably, okay, here's the deal, straight up. Like I said, you can take some dirty-ass muddy water, and I can protein skim it until it fucking runs clear, and just make biodiesel out the ass once I find the right catalyzation method. Okay? But even when it's clear, you just slow down the process a little bit. That shit's still gonna skim. It's just gonna skim a little drier, a little denser. Okay? The foam's not gonna stack up as high. You put the little canister down lower, and it's still skimming, just like my water's crystal clear, and I fucking protein skim. Gobs and gobs of nasty shit every day. Just mud. Okay. But a town, while they might not want a big metal and plumbing and fucking industrial looking protein skimming biodiesel thing set up there, a pyramid covered in rows of plants that take the skimmed water and then fuge it, or use it for aquaponics, basically. That's a whole lot more aesthetic. That's almost a tourist attraction. So you take the whole idea is actually to make a drinkable water reservoir. They could even bottle the water if they want to, because there's going to be a giant ceramic membrane in the middle of these facilities, basically making sure that any water that comes out of there is completely fucking pure. But what it's going to do is going to take the skimmed water, it's going to pipe it through the aquaponics, and then into this bottom reservoir, and then up through the ceramic, and then out to wherever. And I think the having a massive chamber with ceramic on top is the best way to really clean some water. So the water flows in slowly from the bottom and has to go up slowly before it meets the ceramic and then flows up through the ceramic, which means anything heavy, any type of metals, any type of lead or anything like that, never getting through. Anyway. But yeah, we have these, the ones we're gonna make. Oh, there goes my battery. The ones I have in mind, anyways, are 24 foot by 24 foot. And of course, can be made bigger. So let's see, 24 foot, 40 foot, or 56 foot. Okay, okay. Right, I'm counting on it, man. Like, I don't want to just, like, something as important as that, I don't want to just adopt other people's approaches. I trust your ability to think outside of the box, and I'd be very happy for you to learn it and have, like, your specific take on it. Especially if we could fucking, take a week and, go at it in the fucking acrylic and welding shop, So one of the clever ways that small business becomes big business, that I suppose is safe to say on the channel, the mechanic shop, man. we're going to have a shop that'll help us prototype shit. That will be able to turn a profit doing other things. And then when more appropriate prototyping facilities become available, it will simply be a for-profit mechanic shop. So it's like, how do you create a $1 billion enterprise or something like that? $1 or billion enterprise out of basically thin air? That's how you got to think right there. Every aspect of prototyping has to then go into profit. Every cost has to come out green. Nothing can be red. Wrong thing. Yes, desertification. A lot of which I'd like to try to just give to China and Africa. And here's a perfect example why I consider myself as a demigod. Kind of an untapped resource. Like, you know, one might think, bad idea to give China anything. Obviously, it's kind of bitten us in the ass. But you see, with the whole who I am having been proven thing, what you could have me do is then say, now remember this, and don't go lying to any future generations about us being bad guys or something. Great minds, Mr. Conway. Great minds. I was just thinking about that, watching what is it? Bhakti? Not Bhakti. Bactria. What's the name of the islands that are sinking out there in the Pacific, south of Hawaii? I think it's Bactria. They've got this one stretch of nothing but palm. And it's sinking. Well, not sinking, ocean's rising. There are so many places that just shit water diversion. Just pump the poo water into the desert. You know, we were just talking about that. And you could take them and the fucking the palm trees would filter the damn poo water. Another thing I thought of too for deserts, I don't know what kind of designs you'd come up with. You know, the basic, the square shapes that we're working with. If you want to try to sketch out like floor plan type layouts, um, you know, to guide the machinery placement, plumbing placement, that kind of thing. Um, but one of the advantages, both in the structure of the buildings and how they're designed, allows this to be done without looking like crap. You know, like it's one thing to be able to do it, but can you do it and it still look good, right? Because then it's gonna sell. Um, Linking together around some sort of experimental farmland, like in a desert area, or even around like an oil rig site, or like, you know, like whatever type of resource you're trying to protect. Um, yeah, naturally it came like many of my ideas thinking about fucking fighting in the desert. Um, but if you basically link together uh, a series of ranch houses, kind of, it would be very easy to do. They would support each other structurally, um, and in the case of desertification, it would be a good way to resist windstorms. You know, because that's the last thing you want to fucking do is be sitting there trying to help the desert, and then the desert strikes back. So whereas building a giant fucking city wall around some shit is expensive, if you plan the city as the wall, then the wall gets a lot thicker for a lot cheaper. I can see. I could just like so easily picture entire developments based on all these different designs I've made. Okay, just entire low income communities, fucking high income communities, the works. Just any different type of level of community in any different area. And the different versions of these houses that apply to that area. You know, whether it's in the mountains or in the fucking desert, in the fucking central U.S. where all the damn tornadoes hit all the time. Swamps, beaches. A whole neighborhood of people who aren't as worried as the people around them. The biggest problem these people are going to have is hoarding. they, they're going to be they're going to have so few natural disasters to deal with. They're going to have so much shit they're going to need to have like a garage sale center in every community. We could have it built into the fucking housing developments. You know, like whenever you buy a big piece of land to build an entire neighborhood on, we can make sure we include a garage sale center. See, yeah, y'all are gonna need this in a few years, because you're not gonna have any kind of flooding or whatever. So you wind up collecting a lot of shit. There you go, the neighborhood thrift store, where all the people without flood-proof houses get to come buy new shit from all the people with flood-proof houses. That's not just that's beyond marketing. That's like extortion. That's how you know you've got a good product, when just telling people about it is basically extortion. Yeah, don't buy this and you're fucked. I've got to check on our windproof gutter patent, because I'm pretty sure somebody else has come out with the windproof gutter before. Um, but the all of the gabling, even on the vertical side structures, like the roofs. Oh, there you go. Of course. That's a good thing to have, kind of sort of a grandfather clause. Um, I was talking about, just like the little garage sale thing. If we want to make it like an actual thrift store, as opposed to something that people could just occupy temporarily. Um, that and the other little shops, based upon the area and its needs and what its future needs will be with that increase in population. Talking about, like a convenience store or a mechanic shop or whatever the basic necessities are, building a building for a business to inhabit that, and then kind of having consultorship with the consulting company and a grandfather clause with the charity. Okay. In the lease for that business, allocating a percentage of their profits to the Coastal Restoration Foundation, or to the parent charity, which of course I can't name until I get it trademarked. There's just so many different things I can't name until I get them trademarked. I got rather clever names for a lot of things. And just about every one of those I have like a backup name for it. I think I got all my bases covered, yeah. I think the only uncertainty I have at this point is how hard it's going to be to take a roof back apart. Putting a roof together with modular pieces, no problem. We've got sort of a tri-beam setup, as opposed to actual roof rafters, ceiling rafters or whatever, gables. everything's going to be pretty Lego-like to set up. But then the fucking shingles go on. That's where it gets complicated. Because then basically to tear down a roof, you got to reshingle it. There's just no getting around it. Unless, oh wait a minute, I think I just figured it out. Oh, I just figured it out. Damn it. Now I gotta fucking draw that. Oh, I just gotta remember it. Okay, I'm gonna remember it. So the corners have to come up. But I could probably leave the rest. Huh. Interesting. I wonder if that shit'll leak. I think I figured out a way to get around leaks between the sections without reshingling the roof. I have to use a different type of shingles. Which is cool, because those are the ones I was planning on using on the store, on the Easy Reefer store to begin with. So that would mean if you want regular shingles, there's going to be a little asterisk next to the disassemblability. I suppose the same asterisk applies to interior walls. We're going to have a lot of pre-made sections for the interior walls, but a lot of it's just going to have to be framed up on site, like simple shit. Fucking, oh my god, put some 2x4s up and staple some sheetrock to it. Yes, I said staple. Why? Because that shit works good. Staple gun, sheetrock. It was meant to be. And in my opinion, it's easier to mud. I love staple guns. Do you have a love of staple guns? Please leave a comment below. Tell me how much you love staple guns. I love staple guns. Look at my ceiling. Staple guns and thumbtacks gone wild. Unfortunately, it's mostly thumbtacks in here, because we did more than half of this shit job. We did more than half of the sheet job, and then remembered we had a staple gun. Anyways, People on Fox News and talk radio and even CNN, they got some serious soul searching to do. Yeah, any type of construction gun, anything that keeps you from having to swing a hammer and fuck up your thumbs and shit, you know. Poof, that's attached. Poof, that's attached. Poof, that's attached. I remember when I first saw that shit when I was a fucking 10-year-old. I had no idea anything like that existed. My mom's boyfriend busted out the fucking nail gun, I think to help me make a skateboard ramp. I'm like, you know the fucking amount of time it would have took us to do that shit? We're out there with a handsaw, you know, like. He fucking. This asshole made 2 sawhorses right in front of me. Just pulled out the back of his pickup truck. He had a bunch of 2x4s and shit in the back of there. Started sawing wood on his tailgate. Made the fucking sawhorses right there. Then pulled out fucking plywood. And that's how I wound up breaking my hip on a fucking spine ramp. Anyway. I hope these fucking people, especially these twits on fucking Fox and Friends in the morning, I hope they have just the short-term memory capability to just realize, oh fuck, he's been an agent of Russia this whole time. We've been basically the fascist fucking Russian media. We've been Russian puppets on his behalf. We've been touting this line, and we ought to be ashamed of ourselves. And people need to take a step back and realize the kind of lesson that needs to be learned from this. They need to trace back these sources of corruption of their belief and find how far they've fallen so they can see the light and where they need to pull themselves back up to. Anyways, I'm going to do some more drawing and sketching before my fucking morning has to actually start. And maybe I'll get a little nap in. I don't know. I had a pretty good nap this afternoon, but I could certainly use some more sleep. Anyways, thanks for hanging out as always, Mr. Conway. And keep up the good work, especially in school. We are certainly not averse to hiring entire teams of college students. Okay, so feel free to continue to try to scout for a team out there. I know you'd mentioned one person. And whoever else watches this video, if you want to pray for something to go well, pray for my next meeting to go well. And pray that it leads to many more meetings. Because we're still in the preliminary phases at this point, but I'm patient to get a secure cell phone again. I'm patient about, you know, any of the gratification that comes with being able to expand. But I'm not patient about the good that isn't being done and how much good that this plan can do, including getting my family and this family the fuck out of these horrible rentals. But that's about as selfish as it gets. And the houses we're going into aren't hardly bigger than these. The main thing that's bigger is our kids' bedrooms. Their house is going to be virtually the same size. Oh. And the first wall deploying truck is going to be a Honda Ridgeline, so I guess I should confess to really, really looking forward to that. I'm going to tell Fred or, what's his face, Steve, Bob, yeah. First thing I need you to buy is this plot of land over here and a Honda Ridgeline. And just let him drive it for a while until we have the rig ready for it. I drew up the automatic scaffolding thing. And of course, it's not as fancy as the Chinese one with the hydraulics and shit, but it's like a kind of a jerry-rigged version of that. But it'll work. And it'll go right in the back of that ridgeline because the ridgeline has such a flat bed. And then go back and grab the fucking walls. Start putting them up one trip at a time, basically. Maybe we'll need 2 ridge lines. Anyways, I'd like to eventually get my wife one of the newer Hondas that has all the vehicle assist stuff. The radar that guides you in the lane and stops the traffic and detects accidents, you know, all that good visual aid shit because of her eyes. And then I get to have the old CRV. Anyways, so I'm just gonna sit here and stain my teeth yellow some more and try to draw the floor plan for this 7-story tower. And that's going to include trying to make it hollow enough to where it's light enough to where it actually floats without like a huge fucking underbelly basin type thing. Anyways, as far as the dead horse that I've been fucking beating, other than the business thing, um, just get a reality check as far as Russia goes. If you don't understand why it's so bad that Trump is even in business with the Russians, and then everything he's done. Like, if you don't understand how much of what he's done is according to the Russia's plans, you need to just learn more about what Russia's plans have been. And it really starts with opening your mind on conspiracy theories and how so many conspiracy theories were spread by agents of Russia to make people paranoid of their own government. And it also goes as far as to make people turn against their religions, to turn against their parents. They've infiltrated music, movies, comedy, and especially, more than infiltrated, YouTube conspiracy theory. And you can learn a lot about what the truth probably is and what the right course of action probably is and what you should be doing probably is, based upon the lies that they tell and the suggestions that they make. Because generally speaking, you know, when the devil says, come here, you want to run the other way. That's all I'm saying. But as far as on YouTube goes, this seems to be the only channel that is the other way, which is why it's got my one viewer at the moment. You know, as much as I love your company, Mr. Conway, Mr. Conway would agree, this is pathetic. Even me babbling on about random business plan shit is still pretty damn interesting. And, of course, would be more interesting with more people chatting and contributing to the conversation, which is kind of how things are supposed to be, yeah. But all we get are interesting randomizers, let's just say. And we'll leave it at that. Anyway, thanks once again, everybody who watches in the future. And thanks once again to Mr. Conway for hanging out and helping me, right, plan things out. And once again, you know, like, I think it's kind of hard to argue that the topic of this video, the topic of this channel, as it proceeds in real time, continues to be expressing the most important priorities that we should be having but are failing to have as a nation or as a civilization, the West, as a group of allies, as an alliance, as free people of the world. Now is the time to repent. And there are so many valuable lessons that you will never get another chance to learn if we don't seize